The White Sox got blown out twice by the Arizona Diamondbacks, but somehow managed to win a game in dominating fashion between those two rough losses. Now, you and I are used to the Sox losing, but the concerning part was rookie Drew Thorpe got roughed up pretty good yesterday. Let's discuss that, plus the good and the bad of the three-game series next on Locked On White Sox.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And hello, I'm your host, Todd Welter, a lifelong Sox fan and the site expert of Southside Showdown, part of the Fansided Network. You can check out my written content at southsideshowdown.com, and also I've covered Major League Baseball for outlets such as the Associated Press. And thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Locked On White Sox, and also follow or subscribe to the show on wherever you get your podcasts. Well, the Arizona Diamondbacks took 2 of 3 from the Sox over the weekend, despite having a starting rotation that seems to be put together with the use of chewing gum and duct tape. Hey, at least the Sox got a rare win on Saturday. Needless to say, the White Sox got fried in the desert, pun intended, including rookie pitcher Drew Thorpe. I'll talk about the sum of all fears when it comes to his stuff being on display in Sunday's loss. Then let's dive into the good and the bad of the weekend series. And finally, it is a Monday, so let's do a Minor League Monday report. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Well, the Sox got to see firsthand how the Diamondbacks win games and lose them. On Friday, they crushed the Sox 7-1 with their lineup that is in the top 10 in the league. Saturday, the White Sox struck back with a 9-2 victory after injuries to the D-backs rotation forced them to go with a bullpen game. The Sox lost the rubber match yesterday 12-5, and a big reason was rookie Drew Thorpe just did not have it in his second big league start. Now, the concerns about his stuff were on display as he lasted just 3 1/3 innings, gave up 8 runs, 7 of them earned, 6 hits, and he walked 5. He continued on the tradition of White Sox rookie starters getting absolutely demolished in their second major league starts. And I talked about on Friday's show as that was one of the things we wanted to look for in this series was, could Thorpe avoid the same fate as Nick Nastrini and Jonathan Cannon? Well, according to SoxMachine.com, Thorpe was better than Nastrini in one category in their sophomore starts, and that was pitching efficiency, according to Jim Margulis. So Thorpe, he gave up 3 runs in the first, a run in the third, and he was charged with 4 of the D-backs' 6 runs in the fourth. The Chicago Sun-Times had a write-up from had an excellent write-up from Mark Gonzalez regarding Thorpe's struggles and whether you and I should be concerned. So Sox Director of Pitching, here's the snippet. Sox Director of Pitching Brian Bannister visited the Sox this weekend at Chase Field and watched rookie right-hander Jonathan Cannon, who will open the series Tuesday against the Astros, throw a bullpen session. Bannister and other Sox officials have been pleased with the development and adjustments made by several of their top pitching prospects. But in the case of Thorpe, who allowed 1 earned run in 5 innings in his major league debut last week in Seattle, the flaws were simple and fixable. Thorpe struggled with command of his secondary pitches, specifically his changeup and slider. That made him more reliant on his fastball, which averaged 90.6 miles per hour, according to Baseball Savant. He generated only 2 swing and misses among his 60 pitches, of which only 32 were strikes. And make sure to check out the rest of Mark's write-up on ChicagoSunTimes.com. Now, Sox Machine's Josh Nelson, he had a good observation, too, on X, formerly Twitter, when he elaborated as to why he was not thrilled with Thorpe's velocity numbers. This is at SoxMachine_Josh. I feel like we are having the same combos with Thorpe as we did with Giolito. 90 miles per hour in today's MLB will not cut it consistently, especially from right-handed pitching when averaging velo on four-seamers is 94 miles per hour. In no way am I panicking, just a read on how Thorpe can improve. And for the record, he had a screenshot of the average velocities of Thorpe's the rest of the pitches he had. His change was at 81.6 is what it averaged. The slider averaged 82.4 miles per hour. The sweeper averaged 77, and the cutter averaged 85.7. Chicago Tribune Sox beat reporter Lamont Pope had Thorpe's comments after the game. Quote, just kind of didn't have my best stuff, Thorpe said. I didn't have my best command. Obviously, it's pretty hard to work around it when you don't have it with the stuff I have. I beat myself right. 5 walks. That's not how I am. The only thing you can do is flush it and get to the next one, and that's what I'm going to do, end quote. Flush it. I wonder where he got that from, because his manager, Pedro Grifol, had this to say, quote, he's got to be able to pitch and command the strike zone. That's going to be his bread and butter. That's going to be how he performs at this level. If that's a little off, then he's going to have to make some adjustments. And if it's way off, like today, he'll struggle a bit. He's a good competitor, so you can't overthink this one, end quote. And that's been the scouting report for Thorpe. It all comes down to command. And also, you want him, though, to get his fastball more towards the higher end of his velocity range. And that MLB.com, if you look at the top 30 prospects, go into the write-up, MLB.com says his fastball can average between 91 to 95 miles per hour. Although this is just a bit annoying that this is the third time now a rookie pitcher has just been demolished in their second start. I mean, you would hope the coaching staff might have them better prepared, knowing that there's now tape out on them. But then again, Nastrini and Cannon and now Thorpe, they have to execute out there no matter what. And all three didn't. But the key is now, can Thorpe bounce back and make the adjustments necessary? Because for him, it's all about command. If you look at his AA numbers, they're outstanding. But there's a couple outlying starts where he just did not have command. He could not execute his pitches, because that's what he's going to have to do. He's got to execute his pitches. But the other key is he going to be allowed to make those adjustments at the big league level? As reports have, Mike Clevenger is getting close to making his return. The Sox do not need another Mike Clevenger start. Sorry, they just don't. As I will die on that hill. There's no trade value for him, because, again, the open market has twice rejected him. They need more starts from guys like Cannon and Thorpe to help in their development. Thorpe should only go down to the minors if he has, like, let's say, another rough start or 4. Then, yeah, it makes sense. But let's see if he can bounce back instead of immediately sending him back to the minors like what the Sox did with Nastrini and Cannon. And for Thorpe, it's always going to be about location. And I think he needs to start learning, commanding and dealing with adversity at the major league level. He showed his floor against Seattle. He showed the scary part of his game yesterday. Now let's see if he can show the consistent part of his pitching that we've seen in AA for the rest of the season. Well, there was some good in this series, but there was also some additional bad players in this series. So let's discuss that next on Locked On White Sox. Hey, summertime means baseball and the NBA Finals and more, and you could bet it all on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200, and you can use to bet everything from the Finals MVP to who's going to hit one out of the park. The line right now for the White Sox over-under win total is still 50.5. The Sox might not have a chance at the top pick in next year's draft for being historically bad. So there's not much of a trade-off for being terrible this year. Unless you want to hit the under on that 50.5, then at least you have a financial interest in possibly seeing the White Sox finish as the worst team ever. And still a diehard that believes the Sox can win more than 50 games, well, then take the over. It is a really nice future line to bet on, since outside of watching Garrett Crochet pitch every 5 days, Luis Robert Jr. at the plate, and reading up on the trade rumors of both of them, along with Eric Fetty, you don't have much else. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and add a big win to your summer bucket list. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Now, if playing daily more or less is your thing, let me tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It is the most fun, exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. And you can now win up to 100 times your money with baseball-only lineups on Prize Picks. If you submit a winning lineup featuring 4 demon squares, you'll cash in big time on the biggest moments of baseball's early season. Prize Picks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. And as I've mentioned in the past, I have a buddy who lives behind the Cheddar Curtain, and he uses Prize Picks to get his entries in towards his hopes of getting a payout. Plus, what he likes and what I think is cool about Prize Picks is it is so easy to play. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. And are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest sports stories without all that screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And the White Sox start a 3-game home series against the Houston Astros tomorrow. First pitch is at 7:10 p.m. Central. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. Welcome back to Locked On White Sox. I'm your host, Todd Welter, and thank you for making the show your first listen. A lot of great White Sox podcasts out there, like CHGO, and I'll have current co-host Herb Lawrence on the show tomorrow. I just always ask, please listen to me first. And make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Locked On White Sox. Also follow or subscribe to the show on wherever you get your podcasts. Okay. So let's wrap up the bad of this series, and then let's go over who is good. I like to do that after every set is complete. So Chris Flexen did not have it on Friday night. Only lasted 3 1/3 innings. He allowed 6 runs, 4 of them earned, 9 hits, and walked 2. He struck out 2, and he just could not execute his pitches. His fastball, he was throwing it way high in the zone for balls. It was he just did not have it. And the defense overall in the series, they committed 3 errors, including 2 on Friday. Now, a bad roster decision was on display on Sunday. The Sox demoted reliever Jordan Leisure before the series began. I have a short up on YouTube talking about it. Also tried to put it on TikTok, but somehow it was against their community standards. I guess TikTok really likes Chad Kuhl. And I'll get to that in a second. But basically another rookie faces some adversity, and off to the minors he goes. And I get the Sox can be patient with their prospects in a lost season, but I would prefer to see at least give them some rope to see if they can bounce back, especially with Leisure having he had a rough June, but he was very good in April. He was very good, at least in the beginning and midway through May. Had an excellent spring training. This was his first time that he was facing some adversity, but hey, off to Charlotte he goes. So the Sox brought up veteran Chad Kuhl, a pitcher who has not done much in his career, and well, he didn't do much on the mound on Sunday in relief of Thorpe. Came on in the 4th with bases loaded, gave up a 2-run double to Walker, a sac fly to McCarthy, then threw 2 wild pitches to allow 2 more runs to come home. And then he got tagged for 2 more runs in the 6th. Now, had the Sox replaced Leisure with another rookie or even a younger reclamation project, fine, demote him. Give him some time to work out in Charlotte to work out some kinks. Okay, I get it, but Chad Kuhl is a known quantity for not being very good. And the only logical thing that I could think about, like, hey, we got to go with Chad Kuhl, is let's see if he's got some trade value. Let's see if we can, because with bullpen arms, you sometimes buy low, hope that they catch fire, like a stock. I've seen it before. But Chad Kuhl has given no indication that he's going to suddenly just be dominant out there and yield you even a scratch-off lottery ticket prospect. I was not a fan of that move. But hey, at least there was a victory on Saturday. So the Sox are now up to 19 wins. Andrew Vaughn, he had a huge game on Saturday. He was 2 for 5 with a 2-run homer, along with an RBI hit and a run. And Paul DeJong, he had a solo home run in that game as he was 2 for 5. He continues to crush the ball like he wants to get the heck up out of here. And you got to appreciate that. Bless him for realizing he is a trade chip, has a chance to go to a winner if he keeps hitting this way, because somebody's going to be interested in a power hitting shortstop. Not all heroes wear capes. Some just crush home runs to get the heck out of the South Side. Bless you, Paul DeJong. Bless you, sir. Lenyn Sosa, he topped all of them on Saturday, though, as he went 3 for 5 with a homer, 3 RBIs, and he was a triple shy of the cycle. He was also 2 for 4 yesterday and 1 for 3 on Friday. And what the heck happened to the guy who has proven me wrong when I said he can't hit at the big league level? And yes, I'll admit right now, Lenyn Sosa is proving me wrong. I thought he was a lost cause, the classic 4A hitter, but he's been very good since he returned from, to the White Sox after just being atrocious in April. And Lamont Pope, he got some quotes on why is Lenyn Sosa having a better go around this time. This is what Pope had in his 3 things yesterday. Sosa said through an interpreter after Saturday's game that the confidence from the coaches has given him, quote, the freedom to play free the way I was playing in the minors. Quote, I would rather play to have fun, to enjoy the game, and of course to help do whatever it takes to have the team win. I've been enjoying the game, playing with no pressure, end quote. And then Grafal said on Sunday, that mindset is the only, quote, the only way he's going to achieve success. He's not going to have success playing like he was before, just playing tight and not wanting to make mistakes or worried about making mistakes. Part of the development is allowing players to do their thing, and another part of the development is the players accepting instruction and constructive criticism, knowing that's coming from a good place. Coming from a place getting them better as an individual and getting us better as a team, as an organization. The number one thing is to go out and play free. Don't worry about making mistakes. If you do make them, open your mind and let's talk about it and get better for the next day. End quote. Wow, Pedro. You finally realize that sometimes you just got to let a guy be him and they can't be afraid of making mistakes? Maybe you should have realized that sooner. Maybe you should realize that with some of these prospects that you just keep, you in the front office just keep setting down the moment that there's some adversity. Or, hey, maybe take that mindset instead of criticizing if a rookie makes a mistake publicly, like when Brian Ramos made a mistake. Maybe hold some of these veterans that you hold so dearly accountable. How about you go after the vets who can take it and continue to give the constructive criticism behind the scenes? I don't know. Because Sosa's slash line so far in June is 347, 396, 531. Think about this. His slash line in April was 132, 154, 184. And if he's even a solid hitter from here on out, along with Brian Ramos's development, and that further solidifies Yohan Moncada's exit from the franchise after the season. Eric Fetty, he had some trouble early, worked out of it, went 6 solid innings, allowed 2 runs, 8 hits, and struck out 6. Martin Maldonado even got a rare hit on Saturday. And he was supposedly doing such a good job of picking up on the D-back signs that they intentionally balked him to get him onto third base and allow him to score. That was a weird thing to see. But that's one of the great things about baseball. All right, it is Monday, which means a Minor League Monday report next on Locked On White Sox. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and an industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free TradeMaster program. Every TradeMaster gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. And the White Sox start a 3-game home series against the Houston Astros tomorrow. First pitch is at 7:10 p.m. Central. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. Well, welcome back into Lockdown White Sox. Thank you for sticking with me this long. Shout out to all my everydayers. Love you guys. And to all my haters that don't like it when I drink coffee or water. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not a camel. I'm going to take a sip every now and again. It's okay. It'll be all right. Trolls. Anyways, hope you had a good weekend. And also, hope you had a good Father's Day to all those fathers out there. Mine was pretty good. Saturday, went to a graduation party for a relative. And then Sunday, my daughter actually let me sleep till 8 o'clock. So nice of her. Like, one of her favorite pastimes is to wake me up as early as possible and, like, jump on top of me and, like, just be like, "Come on, daddy, get up." Although I love it. Trust me. You know, these are the moments that I cherish right now. But did a little cooking out, set up her little water slide, things I do for my little girl. Hopefully, though, for you guys, for you guys out there, hopefully you had a great Father's Day as well. All right, so on Monday, I like to go over the hope this team has, and that hope is their farm system, especially the pitching prospects. But first, good news. The AAA Charlotte Knights pitching staff combined for a no-hitter against the Durham Bulls. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, great, it's a combined no-hitter. It's not really a no-hitter. Well, stat-wise, it's a no-hitter. But it's impressive considering it was a bullpen game after Johan Dominguez was scratched and placed on the injured list. So, usually in a bullpen game, if you can get a no-hitter, you take that and celebrate it. Names you might remember that were part of the no-no was Jordan Leisure. He pitched 2/3 of an inning in that game. Samuel Peralta with 1 1/3 innings. Davy Garcia with 1 1/3 innings. And it would be, it wouldn't be shocking to see Joe Barlow up at some point. He had 2/3 of an inning as well. Sox top hitting prospect, shortstop Colson Montgomery. He crushed a solo homer in that 2-0 no-hit victory as well. So good to see. He's got 9 homers on the season. Also, the White Sox low A affiliate, the Kannapolis Cannonballers, clinched a postseason spot as they won the first half of the South Division of the Carolina League. First time they have won the South Division in franchise history. The 2 main headlining prospects the Cannonballers have are fireballer Grant Taylor. The potential starter with a lot of potential has a 1.13 ERA in 4 starts. He was the Sox second-round pick last year, despite coming off Tommy John surgery. The Sox, actually, that's 2 years in a row where the Sox have taken a high-ceiling pitcher that had Tommy John. But hey, he's got a ton of potential with a fastball that can hit 99 miles per hour on the gun. And he's been very impressive in 4 starts. George Wolko, hopefully I did not butcher that name. He was a first-round talent the Sox stole in the 7th round of the draft last year. He had first-round projections this year had he not reclassified, but he did, and the Sox got a steal in the 7th. However, he is adjusting to the pro game, has a 154 average with a 5.58 OPS in 10 games at low A after just crushing the ball in the rookie complex league. Although he did go 1 for 3 yesterday and 1 for 4 on Saturday. Also had 3 walks in those 2 games. He needs to cut down on his strikeouts, though. He has 38 in his past 10 games. But don't worry, folks. Plenty of time to develop as he's still just 18 years old. A lot of potential there. Future Sox had a tweet on top pitching prospect Noah Schultz's recent start at Double A Birmingham. This is at Future Sox. Noah Schultz had a rough start to his outing, they clarified, with a hit by pitch and a single. He struck out the next two, but a single drove in 2 runs, eventually handling the hashtag Barons and Schultz the 2-1 loss. He goes 4 innings, allowing 2 runs on 3 hits. He struck out 7 on 42 strikes, 63 pitches overall, hashtag White Sox. So, Noah Schultz, he's only going to go 4 innings the rest of the year. I think that, it's a solid way to develop him. Don't expect him to be up with the White Sox this year. Maybe they extend his innings next year and get him up. But at least he bounced back and only allowed 2 runs in that start. Now, how did the rest of the Barons starting rotation do? The future hope of the team. Jake Eder, again, I every time I turn on the Barons, because I have the MLB TV package, and I do try to catch some Barons games because that's where the hope is. He's always pitching, and you'd think I would always know how to pronounce his name, so I'm sorry. He pitched June 13th, bounced back from a rough outing in his previous start as he allowed 1 run on 3 hits, 10 Ks, and 6 innings. Iro Iriarte, 6 innings on June 11th, allowed 3 runs on 5 hits, 2 Ks. Kai Busch was outstanding yesterday. 7 innings of shutout ball in the doubleheader. And then Mason Adams on June 13th gave up 3 runs and 7 hits in 5 2/3 innings. And finally, catcher Edgar Quero has a 371, 450, 686 slash line over his past 10 games with 3 home runs. He is crushing it in June alone. I just dream of next season when the Sox have him and Corey Lee to rotate in and out at catcher and DH. That is my hope, is Quero is up next year and you just rotate Lee and Quero. I hope Lee is learning enough from Maldonado to be able to handle a pitching staff, because I do not want to see Martin Maldonado in a White Sox uniform ever again after this season. Well, that wraps up this edition of Locked On White Sox. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest sports stories without all that screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I will be back on tomorrow with former Locked On White Sox host and current co-host of the CHGO White Sox podcast, Herb Lawrence. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube page at Locked On White Sox, or follow or subscribe to the show on wherever you get your podcasts. Also, feel free to leave comments about today's topics regarding Drew Thorpe's rough outing, the good and the bad from the weekend series against the Diamondbacks, and the Minor League Monday report. You can leave them on the episode page on YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, at Todd J. Dubb, or at Locked On Sox, or email me at LockedOnWhiteSox@gmail.com. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow.